Kaja Yisrael. Hayam and Ethmatasha Yahuda, Tehila Yahweh, Tehila Yahweh Ben Yahweh. Good morning, family. My name is Kazi Yisrael, and I exist from the tribe of Yehuda. Praise Yahweh, praise Yahweh Ben Yahweh. Today's class, we're going to be focusing on the name Yahweh, as well as proving through linguistics, historical reconstruction, as well as dating which name is older. But before we do that, let's please face the east and give off our tefillah to our most wonderful Father, Yahweh. Let me just pull out my compass here. Tefillah, Ave Nu Sabat Shemayim, Yikadar Shemayakar, Kavo Maku Teakar, Yar Servi Zonkar, Ivashamayim Kain Ba'adis, Alekun Kainu, Tain Lanu Hayam. Mislapanu, Akar Tain, Ibu Sogi, Gomanatu, Bako Tain Lanu, Bayal Tefienu, Lade Zayon, Because Sainu, Minara, Kilaka, Amamlaha, Begibara, Tefre, Leolame, Olame, Sila. Praise Yahweh. Yahweh is the name of the God of the Hebrews. His son name is Yahweh Ben Yahweh, and his chosen people are the so-called blacks of America, which the Lord sprang out of the tribe of Judah, Hebrews 7:14, which again, the so-called blacks of America is that tribe of Judah. I hear a lot of different names from some of these teachers out here. Names like Yahuwah, Yah El Haka, Yahuwah Washi, and all of these funny names. And we're going to go into the dates of these names, of like which names are older. And we're going to get down to the very bottom of it. Yahuwah is a very popular one. And Yahuwah is a variation of the Hebrew name Yahweh, which is considered the personal name of God in the Hebrew Bible. Yahweh, meaning I am, and representing the divine being of the God of the Israelites. It is derived from the Hebrew Tetragrammaton, YHWH or Yud-He-Wav-He, and it is often used in certain religious communities to refer to God with the pronunciation of the original Hebrew. Now, the variation means the act or process or accident of varying in conditions, character, or degree, amount, rate, extent, or degree of change. A different form of something, a variant. The base root of variance is vary, in which means to change or alter as in form of appearance, character, or substance. So Yahuwah is not correct. Yahweh is generally considered the older, more academically supported pronunciation of the Hebrew Tetragrammaton, Yud-He, Wav-He, or YHWH, compared to Yahuwah, which is a modern variation. While it attempts to vocalize the four Hebrew letters, it cannot, because it's a variant, it's a mispronunciation, it's a misspelled form of the name Yahweh, which is supported by historical, linguistics, as well as manuscript evidence. Whereas Yahuwah is frequently cited as a newer, non-traditional transliteration. Yahweh, this form is widely accepted by scholars based on historical evidence as well as the phonetic structure of Hebrew, often linked to the root verb, again, often linked to the root verb, not name, verb means action, right? To the root action of Haya or Hawa, which means to be. So again, Yahweh's action is to be. He is here. To be means to exist. Praise Yahweh. and it is regarded as a much older established form. Right? Got a freaking phone call here. Right? And it is established to form roots in ancient pre-common or era text. Again, let me go ahead and go over that again. Yahweh. This form is widely accepted by scholars based on historical evidence in the phonetic structure of Hebrew, and it is often linked to the root action of Haya or Hawa, which means to be, which means to exist. And this Yahweh is regarded as much older and established form with roots in ancient as well as pre-common era texts. Yahuwah, this is a modern, less conventional, or alternative interpretation, sometimes associated with modern Hebrew movements, and it is not considered an ancient, authoritative, or traditional pronunciation. In context, the original vocalization or the pronunciation of the four Hebrew letters Yud He Wav He is known as Yahweh and is accepted on the scholarly of Reconstruction. Again, so Yahuwah, not it. It is a modern thing pushed by some Hebrew Israelite movements. It is a mispronunciation, and it is a variant, meaning it alters from the original derision, which is the original origin of the name Yahweh. We not done. Now, a lot of people got confused because of the vowels that the sixth consonant makes in modern Hebrew. Modern Hebrew, it has added vowels to the sixth consonant such as O, U, and V. But in biblical Hebrew, meaning in the Old Hebrew, the sixth consonant was originally called Wav, right? Here are the key details regarding the original name and function of the sixth letter. The original name and meaning in ancient times, the letter was called Wa, which translates to hook or nail. Okay? So, we got that down now. Now, let's handle this Yahweh Washi business. Yahweh Washi is generally considered a mispronunciation as it is not a recognized Hebrew name. It's not even recognized in Hebrew. So how can Yahweh Washi be God of the Hebrews name when it's not even recognized? Again, you can look this stuff up. It's not even recognized as a Hebrew name. It is likely an attempt to transliterate the Tetragrammaton YHWH or Yud He Wav He with added vowels. Potentiality of influenced by pronunciation of Yahweh. Again, people trying to do too much. People trying to put themselves on a heightened pedestal when just be modest, man, be humble. We all coming into this knowledge, but you need to study to show yourself approved, and you need to use the analytical comparison technique of analyzing and comparing and contrasting and being able to take your time with scrutiny and look at the fine details to say, okay, this is true, this is not. I'm going to go with the truth. It is what it is. Now, the letter Wav, going back, in biblical Hebrew was also functions as a vowel sometimes in modern Hebrew as a U sound, and it represents the consonants W in classic Hebrew, and V in modern Hebrew, as well as the vowel of U and O. Yahweh, this is the Tetragrammaton, the personal name of the God of Israel. It appears in the Bible over 6,500 times in the Old Testament alone. The earliest known non-biblical reference dates back to around 840 BCE when it was revealed to Moses in Exodus. Again, they didn't have Yahweh Washi. They didn't have Yahuwah. They didn't have Yahya El Haka. They had Yahweh even in Egypt during Moses' time. Yahweh, Yahweh Washi, Yahushua, these are variations. We already learned that variations is an alternative mispronunciation. It goes off in the degree. It varies in degree means of knowledge. It varies in intent. It is different. It is not genuine. It is not authentic. You can say it is erroneous. You can say that it's bogus. You can even say that it's a mockery of the God of the Hebrews' name, because his name is Yahweh. Let's get it. So, again, Yahweh Washi and Yahusha, these are variations often popularized by modern Hebrew roots or sacred name movements of the Hebrew name Yeshua. This name is a compound that means Yahweh saves, making it a later derivative name in the New Testament era based on the foundational name of the Father, Yahweh. Yahweh is significantly older than the term Yah, and particularly in the context of the name of God mentioned in the Hebrew Bible. Yahweh, YHWH, or Yud-He-Wav-He, again, is commonly pronounced Yahweh, and it is the personal name of God of Israel. Archaeological evidence such as the Egyptian inscriptions from the 14th century BCE to around 1390 to 1352 BCE indicates the worship of a deity named Yahweh, suggesting it is very ancient divine name. Now let's get into this Yah business. Yah is the Arabic name for John the Baptist. It's not even God. This ain't even God's name. Yah is Arabic for John the Baptist, which in Hebrew is Yochanan. Come on. Now, Yah is the Arabic name for John the Baptist, a figure from the New Testament 1st century CE. While the name may have roots in older Semitic languages, it is significantly younger than the 13th century BCE or earlier origins of the name Yahweh. The founding fathers of the Islamic people, right, which will be Ishmael, in Islamic traditions and belief, Ishmael is considered the direct ancestor of the Prophet Muhammad, according to the Islamic historiography and the scholarly consensus. Now, the lineage chain of Muhammad is traced back through the Quraysh tribe to figure named Adnan. And Adnan is universally regarded in Islamic traditions as a descendant of Ishmael. Ishmael specifically considered the father of the Arabs, or the Abu Arab. And in Islamic tradition, he and his mother Hagar settled in Mecca, where he helped his father Abraham, who was Hebrew, rebuild the Kaaba. And he is the direct ancestor of the Prophet Muhammad through the Adonite lineage, not Hebrew. In summary, the divine name Yahweh has origins going back to the late Bronze as well as Iron Age, while the name Yah is from the 1st century. Again, all of this stuff you can find when you scrutinize and you show forth the willingness to be humble in your research and accept the truth as it comes. To further this, let's take a look at John 5:43. It says, I am come in my Father's name, Yahweh, and ye receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him ye will receive. Bro, name from which another is prolonged, even in the Greek, is ava or anu, which is used as an alternating in some tenses, unless indeed it be identical with the base. You can tell that he's saying my name is identical with the base. When he says, I have come in my Father's name. Well, what's the Father's name? The Father's name is Yahweh. So he says, I am come in Yahweh's name, and ye receive me not. Right? Again, unless it indeed be identical with the base through the idea of notoriety as well as gratification, that is in the middle voice, which means, again, identical, to derive pleasure or advantage from. It is the base, a name, of both literal and figurative of having the authority character. It is called like a surname, right? Which is identical, similar, or alike in every way and agreeing exactly. So Yahweh being the name of the Father, the Son saying, I come in my Father's name, his name would have to be Yahweh. Hence, that's why it's Yahweh Ben Yahweh. And Ben in Hebrew, it only means son, grandson, child, children, as well as builder. Now, Yahweh said he will come to us after we serve 400 years in a strange land that is not ours, that we're going to sojourn here and treated evil 400 years. When you look up the word sojourn, even in the Greek, it tells you being a by-dweller, which is an alien resident, meaning not native. Yahweh said he was not coming before, he said he was coming after we served 400 years. We did not serve 400 years in Egypt. We did not. It told you that we came into Egypt. When we came into Egypt, then Moses was born. We was there for about probably 40, 50 years, and then Moses called us to Exodus out of there. We never spent 400 years in Egypt. Never. What y'all think we did 400 years twice? No. That's why it was prophesied again in the New Testament. Because that prophecy in the Old Testament was prophecy. In the New Testament, it came to pass, which is where we're at now, in a strange land. Now, Yahweh tells us in Isaiah 9:6 how he will get to his people, that he would be born unto a woman, and that his name should be called the Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, which are all epithets, and epithets are nicknames or names or something that describes a person's character. And he says, I will be the everlasting Father, and my name shall be called Yahweh. Right? It tells us in Jeremiah, right, chapter 23, verse 7. Let's just run to that real quick. I want to say 23, verse 7. Let's go and look at that. Pull it up real quick. Oh, I got you here. Actually, 23 verse 6. In his days, Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. In his name, whereby he shall be called the Lord Yahweh, our righteousness. Yahweh said in Ezekiel 34, verse 11, he said he wasn't sending nobody else. He was coming to himself. Look. For thus saith the Lord God Yahweh, behold, I, even I, will both search my sheep and seek them out. As a shepherd seeketh out his flock in the day that he is among his sheep that are scattered, so will I seek out my sheep and will deliver them out of all the places whither they have been scattered in the cloudy and dark day. And I, that's a personal pronoun, will bring them out from the people and gather them from the countries and will bring them to their own land and feed them upon the mountains of Israel by the rivers and in all the inhabited places of the country. So again, Yahweh came himself. People like to get all mixed up. Well, that's a slave name. We all had slave names before you came back into the truth. Who cares about a slave name? That's not you. Isaiah 65:15 said the slave name will be put on us as a curse. As a curse. But Revelation chapter 2 verse 17 says, he that hath an ear, let him hear. And that we will receive a white stone, and in that stone a new name written that no man knoweth, but he that receives it. So when you come back into the truth, you get your new name, your real name, your only name. Praise Yahweh. And with that, I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Stay walking in the light. Don't give up. This is a marathon. This is not a 100-yard dash. Study to show ourselves approved. And I can't wait to see y'all in the next one. Praise Yahweh.